What's going on, guys? Sam Adams here, and welcome to The Drop. And this week, it's kind of a light week, but there are a couple of notable mentions and some honorable mentions that aren't necessarily large releases. But I'm going to be doing The Drop in kind of a different way. Normally, I have kind of a script that I have written out, but normally it feels kind of clunky and unnatural. So we're just going to kind of go with the flow, and I'm going to try some new things with The Drop from here on out, just because I'm getting kind of bored with it. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into it. So kicking things off, we have a collaboration between Double Fine Productions and Adult Swim Games. Now, before we even get into what the game actually is, I love the idea of this collaboration because of the two parties working on this project. Double Fine is famous for Grim Fandango, Psychonauts, or well, I suppose Grim Fandango remastered for the more recent crowd. Psychonauts, Psychonauts 2, you have Gang Beast, which is one that's been on YouTube a lot and streamed on Twitch. It's a very entertaining game, but Double Fine has good ideas and good gameplay to back that up, and it's hard to find that kind of combination in the gaming industry sometimes, but Double Fine always does well, led by Tim Schafer, and it seems like they put out some pretty good products. Now with Adult Swim Games, it's pretty much taking the essence of what Adult Swim is, which of course, for anyone that doesn't know, Adult Swim is pretty much Cartoon Network After Hours, where you can find more adult-themed kind of cartoons, and it's kind of a raunchy, crude, slapstick kind of humor, and you take those two elements and you combine it together to create a game, which is what Headlander is appearing to be. Now, whenever I say it's crude, adult, slapstick humor, that's not what the game is actually about. It's just little Easter eggs here and there, and Adult Swim Games is pretty much a publisher that allows smaller ideas to get a little bit of the limelight, which is something I'm in support of. Now, the game itself is actually called Headlander, and it pretty much is set in this alternate reality where technology has advanced to such a degree that humans don't need bodies anymore, and they actually put their minds into the bodies of robots, which means people can pretty much live forever. There's no illness. It's all hunky-dory, you know, it's a pretty good universe until a computer takes over all of the robot bodies, thus leaving humanity pretty much enslaved. And then you have one organic human being left who is unfortunately just a head in a jar. But the cool thing is, this head in a jar is attached to a body, and then the head can kind of, you know, I guess rocket boost off and go onto different bodies throughout the entire game. So you can take on the attributes and control different kinds of characters, which obviously adds a little bit of variety to the game, depending on the kind of abilities, the kind of skill set that each individual body might have, and that's where your variety of gameplay comes in. Now, at its core, it's a side-scrolling action-adventure platformer kind of game, so if that's something you might be interested in, it's definitely worth checking out. Of the gameplay I saw, it looks to be pretty interesting, and pretty much the storyline is going to be trying to take down this big giant computer that's kind of being the overlord or acting as the overlord over all the human beings, which sounds like a pretty good narrative, but obviously this one is going to be primarily about the gameplay, which does look pretty good because as your body is getting pummeled by, you know, different kinds of bullets and attacks, you can pretty much detach your head and go find a different body. It's a good idea. I like the kind of concept, so if that sounds like something you might be interested in, Headlander is coming to the PlayStation 4 and PC, I believe? Yeah, PlayStation 4 and PC this week. So next up, we have Fallout 4's Vault-Tec Workshop. Now, this is a $5 DLC, so obviously you get what you pay for. It's not going to be your Far Harbor kind of alternate storyline experience, but there is some fun to be had other than just adding stuff to your workshop. So pretty much whenever you download it and boot up the game, you're going to get a distress beacon from Vault 88. Whenever you go over there to check out and see what's going on, the Overseer is emerging from the vault, and she's been there for 200 years. She is a ghoul now. She didn't finish her vault, which is pretty much the idea behind the entire workshop thing, is that you now have the abilities to kind of build your own vault, which is where the majority of the fun comes in. So what exactly is being added? A couple of things here and there. The main thing you need to know is that now you can build a vault and you have a barber shop and a surgeon's chair, where pretty much you don't have to go to Diamond City to change your appearance anymore. You can do that wherever you want, which is pretty cool. That's the basic gist of the idea. And for $5 you get a quest, you get a new kind of experience where you can be a Vault Overseer, so I suppose that is pretty cool for the hardcore Fallout fans. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, that's coming to everywhere Fallout 4 was playable in 2015 this week. So now the final big release of this week isn't exactly a full release, but I still felt like it was worth mentioning for those that have an Xbox One or a PC that wanted to check out this game, because it is one of my most anticipated games of 2016 because of the idea and the concept behind it, and this is of course We Happy Few. Alright, so this game is coming to the Microsoft Preview Program and Steam Early Access, and with this release I want to make it very clear that there is no narrative, none of the story is being revealed. It's pretty much just giving you a glimpse of what the gameplay is going to be like whenever We Happy Few gets a full release sometime later in supposedly 2016, but of course it is July, you've got 6 months left, so you probably need to get the ball rolling on that unless you're going to go ahead and push the game over into 2017, which I highly doubt is going to happen, but you never do know. It is still slated for a 2016 release, but sometimes things change. So We Happy Few takes place in the middle of the 1960s in a small English town where everyone is taking this drug called joy, which is recommended that everyone take every day, and no one really goes beyond that. Everyone takes the drug because it does make things appear better than they actually are. In the trailer we saw what appeared to be a family having a meal, and then all of a sudden, whenever the guy's drugs wore off, they were all eating some kind of raw animal that was just laid out on a table instead of the turkey or whatever they were having. Or no, they were having cake because it was someone's birthday. That's pretty much the idea behind the game, where everything is really jacked up, but the drugs blind everyone so they don't see it. Now you, the main character, decide not to take your drug one day, and instead you see the world as it actually is, and needless to say, you kind of start freaking out a little bit. As far as I know, that's pretty much the gist of the idea of the game that we've gotten so far, and like I said, I absolutely love this kind of thing, and I feel like it is going to give some kind of underlying social commentary on our world as it is today, and I love that kind of thing, because it is awesome to see these artists, because that's what game developers and the teams behind these games actually are. You know, they have ideas, they want to put them out for the world to experience. I love that kind of thing. So this one is really catching my eye. I can't wait to see it in its full release because, like I said, there is not actually any kind of narrative or story within this week's release. But for those that wanted to check out the gameplay, see how the game actually plays instead of just what the story entails, you can check it out on the Xbox One preview program and Steam Early Access coming out this week. Now, a couple of honorable mentions. The Banner Saga 2 is coming to the Xbox One. Super Dungeon Bros and Dungeon Punks are also coming to the Xbox One. The first one that I mentioned is the one you should check out if you're interested in that kind of experience. The last two you can pretty much forget about because it really didn't look that great, especially Dungeon Punks. Don't even pay attention to Dungeon Punks because I looked at it.
Oh, they're messing with the wrong captain. I hired myself a crew. I know they're just a bunch of punks, but I paid for their resurrection insurance, and we're going to set things right no matter how many times they have to die for it. It's not like I'm sending them out there without proper equipment. They should have no problem dealing with a small band of murderous morons.
Oh god, it looks like a free-to-play game in a browser. Like, oh man. So there you guys have it. I hope you've enjoyed this edition of The Drop. If you did, drop me a like down below and comment and let me know what games you are picking up this week, if anything caught your eye, or if nothing really, appealed to you this week, what games are you looking forward to? I know the next big release that I'm really excited for is Batman Telltale. That's one that I normally wouldn't get into, but this one looks kind of interesting. But that's beside the point. If you're new to the channel, check out some of my other content. I upload new stuff like 3 to 4 days a week, depending on the week, so there's always something new right here on the channel when you drop by to watch some videos. And as always, I want to thank each and every one of you guys for watching this particular video. I'll talk to you soon. Peace.